Hello everybody, Big Anklevich here, podcaster, author, and carnivore. And it's time for another week of Big Anklevich on health. We're talking about the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs challenge that me and Marshall Latham are doing. And yeah, it's coming along, I would say, pretty well. So we'll start with my videos about how my week has gone, and I'll talk to you about that on the other side. It is Thursday, which is day 15, and today I had steak. We had 2 ribeye steaks that I bought back on July 4th that were still hanging around, and I figured I probably better cook these up pretty soon before they get yucky. And so I pulled them out to cook them, and my daughter was standing right there, and she's like, "Ooh, I'd like some of that." So I gave her one of the steaks. I had the other. They're not very thick cut, so they're not too impressive. They look bigger, although you don't know because I forgot to take a picture of them. But they look bigger than they actually are because they're kind of thin. But I ate mine all the way through. Had it with a lot of butter. You know, I did my thing where I put a bit of butter on each forkful and have a bite. And my daughter was able to eat maybe 2/3 of hers, so I ate the last third myself, and I was full. That's what always happens when you put lots of butter down, it makes you full. And so I was good, and that was what I had for the rest of the day. It was just one meal for today. It is Friday, which I believe is day 16 of the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs challenge. And today I had to go help my daughter get her passport one more time. This is now the 3rd time this week, but we had to get a passport because we're going to visit Grandma and Grandpa in Canada later this year. So we had to go get one, and I made sure to cook some food before we drove out to the passport office, which is the post office, because it was going to take a little while. The only place we could get an appointment was kind of a bit of a drive away. Had to head out into the country because that's where they have openings. Here in town, nope. So yeah, so I cooked up a whole bunch of burger patties. I took my big chub of ground beef and I just cut it. I just cut slices of it off. And I fried those. You know, the chub is already a tube, so I just cut them in slices, and then they were just perfectly ready to be burger patties. And so yeah, I cut those off, and I put them in the fryer, and we've got that electric frying pan that we have to use right now. Put it in there, and they cooked up, and they were wonderful. I cooked a lot of them. I think I cooked about half of the chub, at least upwards of 2 pounds worth of the ground beef, and I ate most of it. My daughter did eat a little bit, maybe one of the patties, probably only partial of one of the patties. And I put butter on them as I took bites. Like this is, I did a picture of the fork. What I do is I take my fork, I get butter on the fork, and then I get a bite of hamburger. And this is what my bite tends to look like. So as you can see, it's a lot of butter. I think that that's the idea. I think that that's a good thing. If you're smarter than me and you know better, then leave a comment and tell me that I'm blowing it. But I think the point, especially at this point of eating carnivore, is to have lots of fat. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you don't need it anymore. But most of us are kind of fat deficient, I believe. And I think I might be one of those. And so I've been eating as much fat as I can to see if that helps promote some weight loss for me. And yeah, so that's what I did today. I had that, and I was full for the rest. I ate so much. There was probably a few that I could have saved, but I brought my plate with me as we were driving out to the passport office. We were driving out to the country, and I didn't have anywhere to, I didn't want to throw them away, and I didn't have anywhere to put them, so I just had to put them in my mouth. So I ate until I was really stuffed. It was like I just had Thanksgiving dinner. Hello, it is Saturday, which is day, I think, 15, 16, 17. I think that's right. And yeah, it was a pretty good day today. At about noon, I cooked up a bunch of hamburgers using what was left of that same beef that I made hamburgers with yesterday. And I ate a bunch of those with some butter, and I was feeling good. I was feeling stuffed. I figured I wasn't going to eat for the rest of the day, and so I wasn't planning on it. But then my wife decided to make dinner for the kids, and she's like, yeah, we'll just have hamburgers. And she had me cook up these hamburgers that she got from the store, and the hamburgers had bacon mixed into them. And I still, at the time, was thinking, yeah, I don't think I'll eat anything. And then I took a bite of them, and they were so tasty. And the next thing you knew, I ate, I think 3, maybe 2. 3, I think 3. No, shoot, how many was there? There were 6, 1, 2. I don't know. I had 3. And they were good. I ate those with butter as well, and I really filled myself up with them, and I was feeling good after that. And there was still one left over, plus half of one that one of my kids didn't finish, and I think I'll probably have those tomorrow. Okay, it is Sunday, which is day 18, and been a good day today. My food was a little unusual. For my lunch, I had 2 cans of corned beef. Pretty sure we decided corned beef was okay. I read the label on the can, and it said it was beef, salt, sodium nitrate, and I think there was one other ingredient, but they were all legit ingredients. Water, I think, was one of them. Beef, water, salt, and sodium nitrate, something like that. Basically, things are looking kind of grim these days, and looking like we probably need to have some kind of a food storage set aside for ourselves. And we were at the grocery store the other day, and I got a couple bags of rice for my family, because apparently we're already out of, we usually have buckets of rice. We have a kind of a food storage anyways, but we've been using it and I guess not replacing it. So we got some bags of rice. I just thought we ought to get some stuff while it's still cheap enough before, next year comes and that same bag of rice costs $20 instead of $5. And you can only find one of them instead of 50 of them. And so I thought we probably ought to start doing something like that. And I was thinking, what do? I can't eat rice. It's not going to take long before I have some serious problems if I have to survive on food like that. So we were looking at the canned meats, and there's sardines, which Marshall and I tried out a few months ago, and I actually didn't hate them, and so I got myself a few cans of sardines. I think I'll keep doing that each time we go back to the store, get a few more cans. I can't eat sardines right now, but because they're not beef, butter, bacon, or eggs, but I can definitely set them aside for in case there's some kind of an emergency, a long-term food shortage. I got some of that. I got some cans of tuna, and I looked and they had cans of the corned beef, and I thought, well, shoot, I'm going to try that and see. Corned beef, unfortunately, is one of the more expensive canned meats. The can that I had, each one that I had was about $3 already, maybe even $3.50. But this morning I thought, okay, before I buy a bunch of corned beef, I probably ought to try it out and see if this is something that I can do frequently. I can live off of. So that's what I had. I had a bowl of fried up corned beef. And to tell you the truth, it's good. I like corned beef. I used to eat corned beef hash all the time, which is corned beef plus potatoes. I loved that stuff, but take the potatoes out. Is it still good? Yeah, it's fine. And that's what I did just as a trial for my breakfast today. And it left me full for most of the day. I had 2 cans, which I suppose if I'm, on rations or whatever, I'll only get 1 can probably per day, but or less. So hopefully it can tide me over for this stuff like that. But anyways, I thought I was done for the day. And then again, just like yesterday, my wife decided it was time to make dinner, and my stomach was suddenly rumbling. I don't know if it got used to it. It's like, hey, remember when we ate late last night? Let's do that again. So I did. I had what was left of the burgers from yesterday morning, which was 2 of them, and then what was left of the burgers from last night, which was 1.5 of one. And they were both pretty good, although I have to admit the burgers that I made straight out of ground beef, I forgot to put salt on them, and they were a little less flavorful than usual. And you put those next to the burgers that had bacon in them already, and that made it a tough act to follow. But I also had bacon. I cooked some bacon up to go with those. And now I am fasting. I'm going to fast until Tuesday morning. And then I'm going to fast again on Wednesday, and I'm going to fast again on Friday. I'm going to do 3 alternate day fasts this week. That's my plan. And so we'll see how that goes. All right, it's Monday, day 19, and today's a fast day. So I haven't eaten anything today. Just didn't eat. Not a lot to report because of that. No, I'm, as usual, cold. My hands and feet particularly. I was hungry, but I usually just get hungry when I'm fasting at the time that I normally eat. So sometime around noonish, and then kind of it'll drag on up into like maybe even as late as 4. But it comes and goes, and it's generally not bad. It's funny how cold I get, considering this isn't even a long fast, really. I mean, right now I'm only at 25 hours fasted. I probably won't even make it to 40 when I'm done, because I started later, because I always do on Sundays. It's always a shorter fast on Mondays, but yeah, I'm still freezing. I fast almost this long every day when I do 1 meal a day, and I don't get this cold. For some reason, it's like my body knows that I'm going for a full day, and it just starts getting cold early. I was getting cold at like 18 hours, which I am. I'm always fasting 18 hours. That's normal. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, it is Tuesday, which is day 20, I think. And I finished my fast up today at 35 hours and 47 minutes. And then I had myself some bacon and eggs, which is always fun to break a fast with bacon and eggs. I had plenty of butter with that too. And that left me really full for the rest of the day. But whenever I'm doing alternate day fasting, I make sure to get 2 meals in on the day that I'm eating. So even though I wasn't hungry at noon, I made myself some more food. I cooked up hamburgers from my ground beef, and I ate those with butter as well, just like I showed earlier. And they were good, but I couldn't eat them all. I valiantly persevered to get through 3 of the 4 that you see in this picture, and I just had to give up. I couldn't eat the 4th one. So I had to put that back in a baggie, and I guess I'll have that when my fast is over, because I started another fast. And I will not eat tomorrow, and I won't eat again until Thursday, which will be on a different video, because tomorrow is the last day of week 3. It is Wednesday, which is day 21, so it is the final day of week 3. And I didn't eat anything today, because it's the day that I skip all meals, the alternate day. So yeah, it's now 30 think I'm at 35 hours. Something like 40 minutes shy of what my entire last fast was. And I'm doing fine. I still have about 8 hours of sleep before I finish my fast up and eat something. And should be good. Been cold all day, but that's, pretty standard for when you're fasting. But been fine. Had plenty of energy to do everything that I need to do. So that's usually, once you get used to it, fasting's really not that big of a deal. My old podcast co-host Rich Outfield freaks out every time I talk to him about fasting. He thinks it's crazy, just absolute craziness that I go so many hours without eating. But, once you're used to it, it's no big deal. And when you eat the right foods, it's no big deal. You eat enough fat, enough protein, and you're fine. You're living on carbs, then you're going to hate your life. So that's what I do. All right, we'll send it over to present day Big Anklovich to tell you about how the week all turned out. All right, so I'm coming at you from outside for once. I normally wouldn't do that because it's generally pretty dang hot out here, but it's early in the morning still, so it hasn't gotten too bad. I've got myself some shade here under the trees. My wife is inside. She's working from home today and has to be remoting in or whatever, has to be on camera and all this stuff. So she's taken over my study. So it's not a good view in there anyway, since they're just empty shelves. So I decided I would come out here. But yeah, so this week it was pretty good. I did 2 fasts. I just finished up the second one a few minutes ago. Had myself some bacon and eggs, and I'll talk about that in the next video. So I won't spoil it for you. I don't want to ruin the surprise. But yeah, it was a good fast, and I went for the full 40. I think I made it to 43 hours with this one, 43 and a half, almost 44. I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head right now. Sorry. I'll flash up the thing that shows you how long I went, so you can see that. But it was better than the last one. I got started early instead of waiting until like almost 9 o'clock to get started, which is why my first fast was only 35 hours instead of 40 or more. I think 44 is kind of what I shoot for, but you get what you get. And it's really not that important when it comes down to it. That's one of those things that I think is important, is to not let alternate day fasting, or just fasting in general, intermittent fasting, don't let it rule you. You rule it. It's not that important the exact time. You don't have to get to you don't have to wait for the clock to tick over before you can eat. It's not going to matter 5 minutes one way or another, or even more. So I learned that last time around, and did plenty of fasting to learn that fact. But that was how my week went. It went, I think, pretty well. I don't know if I lost any weight. I guess I will find out on the 1st. Like I said last week, I have decided not to weigh myself all the time. I have just this tendency to hop on the scale and weigh myself, and then either be encouraged or discouraged by what happens. And I usually get a little of both every week. There's some signs that are encouraging, and I think, oh wow, look at that, I lost all this weight, this is so great. And then when the week ends and I'm back down, or back up, I guess the way to say it, to what I was before, then I'm all discouraged, and I'm just like, it's not working, and blah. Even though I've still lost some weight, I'm feeling depressed because it's not as much as I had lost. So I've decided to only let myself weigh in on the 1st of every month. So that's coming up. It's only a few days away, August 1st, and I will weigh myself then, and I'll put that in the video next time. So that was my week. Now let's go check out and see how Marshall did for his week.
It is day 15 of the beef, butter, bacon, and egg challenge. And I tried something new again. Well, similar, I guess. So I had those 4 leftover hard-boiled eggs from my experiment last week, and I needed to do something. I needed to eat them, do something with them. And then I had cooked up a bunch of, like a pound of bacon. I think I had eaten some prior, but I cut a bunch of that up into small little bacon bits, basically. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try something here. So I had those eggs, and I cut those eggs up into tiny little bits as well. And then I mixed those together with some softened butter, about a half a cube, or half, not a cube even, but anyway, half a package of butter that I had softened up, and mixed that together, kind of like an egg salad, but beef, butter, bacon, and egg style egg salad. And at first, when I started eating it, it tasted really good. I enjoyed it. And I had a big bowl of it, and I started to enjoy it. But as I kept eating, just the butter got to me, just eating the butter. Big seems to just love that stuff and be able to just eat it wholesale, all by itself. I don't like that very much. And it's not, the corporate system telling me that, or the American Heart Association or anything. It's just, I don't like it. It kind of feels gross. And physically, not just emotionally or mentally. It kind of gets to me after a while, just eating the butter, even though I have the bacon in there and the eggs and stuff like that. So I only eat about half the bowl. I'm like, just not gonna be able to finish this. But I am going to keep it, and I'm going to try to finish it up tomorrow. Maybe add some hamburger or something in there with it. Anyway, so I ate, that's what I had around lunchtime. For dinner, I still have a bunch of the pork that I cooked up last week, or anyway, a while ago. And so I had a bunch of that because I was pretty hungry since I didn't eat that whole bowl at lunchtime. So I ate like a bunch of pork, and I melted a bunch of butter in it, and it tasted really good, and I enjoyed that, and it filled me up, and it was good eating. But yeah, something about just straight butter cold, I'm not into it. I need it melted somewhat, that kind of thing. I mean, I think, what Big describes as taking a bite or taking it with another bite of a burger or something like that. I did do that a little bit last week, and that seems to work pretty good. But just the straight butter, or the cold, I don't know, something about it I just don't like. It's much better than the bargain butter that I started out with. But I just can't do it straight up for a bunch. I can eat a little bit of butter and enjoy it just fine, but a whole bunch of it, I can't do it. At this point, I don't know, maybe that's something that you get adapted to, just like you get fat adapted or whatever. Maybe I get butter adapted. I don't know. Well, maybe by the end of the this 90-day challenge, I'll just be eating butter. I won't even eat beef or butter, or beef or bacon or eggs, just butter. All right, we are on day number 16 of the beef, butter, bacon, and egg challenge. Let's see if I can do this without too many distractions out here. Let's see, for around lunchtime, I think it was right around noon. Remember, I had that hard-boiled egg and the cut up bacon and the butter that I ate yesterday, and I couldn't eat the whole thing. It was too much butter. I just not able to do that yet. And so I thought, well, shoot, I don't want to waste that. So I brought a couple hamburger patties that I had cooked up last week, I think. And I heated those up and added those to the mixture of the eggs, butter, and bacon. And that kind of melted the butter a little bit. It kind of mixed everything together really well. And it was hot rather than cold. And I just think that made for a better experience, and it tasted really good. I really enjoyed that. So I after I was done eating, I thought, hey, I've included everything. I have eggs in here, I have bacon, I have butter, and I have eggs. So, no, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, yeah. So I had all 4 ingredients there in that one dish. And it was pretty tasty. I liked it quite a bit. So, and then I think for dinner last night, I had, I just had scrambled eggs, about 6 scrambled eggs with some bacon crumbles in it for dinner. And that was it. That was day number 14, or sorry, day number 16. Hey, it's time to talk about day number 17 of the beef, butter, bacon, and egg challenge. And trying to remember what time it was. I'm pretty much not eating breakfast. I'm not eating food in the morning. I'm waiting till at least noon, but typically a little bit after that. And so I had a pound of ground beef thawing in the fridge. So I ate that up, and I fried it up, and then I put 3 eggs in it after it had browned, and had that in there. And then that tasted really good, but it wasn't as good as the last time I did that. And I thought, I wonder what's different about it. I guess the only difference is this was, I cooked it raw and then browned it and then added the egg. The other one, I had cooked up a whole bunch of ground beef and had it in the fridge for a while. And then I reheated it in some butter, and I cooked. And so maybe it was the butter that was the difference that made it taste better last time. But I ended up adding a couple more fried eggs on the top, running fried eggs on the top of that. So it was a big, eating a whole pound of ground beef plus I guess it was 5 eggs. That was pretty filling. That filled me up quite a bit. But later on, I wasn't sure if I was going to even eat dinner, but my family wanted hamburgers for dinner. And so I said, well, shoot, why don't you cook me up a few extra hamburgers? And so I had 2 hamburgers with, and then I cooked up some bacon for everybody. So I had, I don't know how many pieces of bacon, maybe 4, 5, 6 pieces of bacon, and some hamburger patties that I cut up into little pieces, and I just ate that. I put some butter on it too. So that was good. 2 good meals. I was well satisfied. I probably didn't have to have the second meal, but why not? I've been told you can't overeat if all you're eating is beef, butter, bacon, and egg. So that's, as long as I wasn't full, like sickly full, then I was good. So that's what I did. Hey there, it's day 18. No, sorry. Yeah, it's day 18 of the beef, butter, bacon, and egg challenge. And today I ate around 2 o'clock, and I had some of that pork loin that I needed to finish up. It was the last bit of it. And so I just made a bowl of that and cooked it up in some butter. I put some bacon bits in there too. I've learned that I don't know if I care for pork loin that much. It's kind of dry. It's really good the first day you cook it. It's amazing the first day. But after it's sat in the fridge and you try to heat it up again, it's kind of dry. It's kind of like a leftover turkey after Thanksgiving, the dry white turkey. And I'm probably just doing something wrong, but I did melt a lot of butter into it. So I added a lot of butter and had the bacon bits in there for a little extra flavor, and finished that up. And that was pretty good. Around 6:30, I had a couple more steaks left in the fridge. Well, I had thawed them out. And so cooked up the last 2 of those blade steaks, and had one of those steaks for dinner, and also had a little burger patty. I was cooking up extra patties anyway, and I didn't do a very good job. I ended up burning it, and so I took the worst burnt one and ate that one just because it was my fault. So anyway, I had those 2 with lots of butter, and that was pretty good. Hey, I'm driving again, reporting for day number 19 of the beef butter bacon and egg challenge, and it's a pretty good day. For lunch I had the second steak that I cooked up the other day, and I was kind of sad because I had cooked it just the right amount of pink, but I wanted to melt some butter in there with it, and so I put it in the microwave for a little bit, and it overcooked it, and so it was kind of tough to eat and didn't taste as good. I should have just ate it cold, because I had cut it up into a bunch of chunks, and so I should have just eaten it cold right out of the bowl and forgot about the butter. But I didn't do that, and so I mean, it was good, it was fine, but not as good as I was hoping. And well, let me go on to the rest of it here before I say anything. So then for dinner, I wasn't going to eat too much. I just cooked up 5 eggs, scrambled eggs with bacon crumbles in it. And I guess the bacon crumbles that I use are the Kirtland brand I get from Costco. And, when I say bacon bits, which isn't correct, it is true bacon. And the ingredients on it, it's don't have added sugars or anything like that. So it's actually a good source of bacon. It's real bacon, not chemical or anything like that. But anyway, so I had scrambled eggs with bacon crumbles, and I was pretty much done for the day. But my wife, who's not doing carnivore, she's kind of doing keto, but she's been looking at carnivore recipes and stuff, and she saw something the other day, and she couldn't find it again, but she goes, I think I can do that. I think I can recreate that. And so she made these little, we call them dinosaur eggs, because that's kind of what they look like to us anyway. But it's a hard-boiled egg, but then it's got a hamburger packed around it, and then you bake it in the oven. So I'm going on a trip in a couple days, and I was trying to find things that I could make ahead of time and just have to eat on the road or wherever we are. If the choices aren't good what we're eating, I'd have a backup, and so I need to start putting that. So I was thinking about making meatballs and just mixing some eggs in with the hamburger and putting some bacon crumbles in the meat and making up meatballs and just having that in bags and chomping down on meatballs as part of this trip. You'll probably see that next week. But anyway, so we had talked about that too, and she goes, oh, well, I can put some of those bacon crumbles in the hamburger. And so she did, and she made these little dinosaur eggs, and they turned out really good. And so very tasty. The bacon flavor baked into the hamburger. I think she put some seasoning in there too, maybe Red Robin seasoning, which we typically use. So maybe I violated the terms of the agreement. Usually I just season everything with salt. But anyway, it tasted really good. It had a good bacon flavor to it, and the egg was cooked just right. She didn't hard boil the egg as much as she would usually, and I've been trying to get her to back down how much she cooks her hard boiled eggs, because I prefer it a little softer. So I'm going on quite a bit here, sorry. So anyway, it was really tasty and really good. So yeah, I think she only simmered the eggs for 10 minutes after boiling, and then because they went in the oven also to be cooked. But yeah, really good flavor, really good. They look pretty cool, as you can see hopefully in the picture there. And yeah, I would recommend that to anybody who's doing carnivore. That's really good. I've learned since that I guess those are called Scottish eggs or Scotch eggs, and they're quite popular in the UK, I guess, and so that's cool, something new, but definitely carnivore. So it's kind of fun to play around with these different recipes, but I keep thinking in the back of my head, well, I shouldn't be trying to find creative, tasty ways to do carnivore or beef, butter, bacon, and egg. because it's not supposed to be about the enjoyment of the food. It's supposed to be just about fueling your body. But I'm kind of mixed on that because I think I should enjoy everything that I eat. It shouldn't just be a chore to eat. I should enjoy everything I'm eating. And I like eating steak, and I like eating hamburger and eggs in different forms, and including the butter in there and stuff like that. But so I think I should, as long as I stick within the guidelines of the diet that I'm trying to do. Enjoy the meals and enjoy whatever variety that I can. But yeah, there's just that nagging thought of, well, you shouldn't enjoy your food. You shouldn't be being creative and doing all these things. And I don't know if that's just based on things I've heard or whatever. But anyway, I enjoyed it, and it was a good day. Hey, it is day 20 of the, what am I doing? Beef, butter, bacon, and egg challenge. That's what I'm doing. Let's see. Let me report. What did I also? I kind of had a hodgepodge for my midday meal. I had about a pound of bacon, a little bit less than a pound of bacon, and I had 2 hamburger patties. I think they're a third of a pound each of those patties that I had cooked up, and then I had 2 eggs that I did soft boiled. So yeah, just kind of a menagerie, if you will, of beef, butter, bacon, and egg. Yeah, I had butter too, so I had all of the food groups there. So let's see. And then for dinner, I almost didn't eat. And I think maybe next week I may start trying to just do 1 meal a day. Because I think I could do it. I don't think I would have to eat a midday snack or midday meal. I could probably just get away with eating at home at night when I get home. So we're not going to do that this time around because I'm going on a trip, family trip, this weekend. But I'm trying to prepare for that too. I think I already talked about that. So I will get out of your hair and come back for day 21 tomorrow. Hey, it is day 21 of the beef, butter, bacon, and egg challenge, the end of week 3, and I have a report on what I ate today. Kept it really simple for lunchtime. I had just 2 hamburger patties that I cut up and melted some butter in with it and some bacon crumbles, and just had a bowl of that. That was really good. And then I was gonna, I just ended up having scrambled eggs with some extra hamburger and some bacon crumbles in it. So I was defrosting some hamburger for meatballs that I'm making for the trip that I'm going on, and the bottom part of it got kind of extra cooked. So I couldn't use that as my, raw hamburger, mixing it for the meatballs. And so I just threw that in with some eggs and added some bacon crumbles and ate that up. I think 5 eggs is what I had in there. So yeah, it's kind of become my staple nighttime snack. But as I mentioned, I think in an earlier video, I might just go down to eating once a day. But that won't be for a few days. Maybe next week I'll try to do that and see how successful I am at doing that. It's been a good week. I did lose a little bit more weight. And I also, I decided to do, even though it's day 21, it's 3 weeks in, I ordered a beef, bacon, butter, and egg shirt from Dr. Barry's PhD, I don't know, his line of clothes or whatever. And so I put that on. It was only 4X. That was the largest that they offered. And it fits very snug on me. I typically wear a 5X. The 4X fits on me, and it doesn't look too bad, but it is kind of form-fitting. And so I thought, this would make a good before picture. And when we're done with the 90 days, I will take another picture with the shirt on. Hopefully, it fits me a lot better, and it may be a little baggy, or who knows what's going to happen with that. But anyway, that's my intention. I know you're supposed to do a before and after photos starting from day 1. But I didn't do that. A lot of people strip down to shorts or something like that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to put anybody through that. So anyway, I feel good about where things are going, and I don't think it's going to be a challenge for me to do this. And I'll talk more about that next week.
All right, so I love watching Marshall's videos because there's always so much that I want to say to them. I find myself sitting there as I see them each day going, oh yeah, this and that and this. And the worst part is what usually happens is by the end of the week when I'm doing the final wrap up, I forget 90% of what I wanted to say. And I'm thinking about actually changing the way I do these videos. I've been doing them week by week for these first 3 weeks, but I'm thinking about doing them day by day, making them really short, quick videos, and I respond to everything that's said in the video so that, you know, all these things get resolved instead of just kind of left up in the air like they generally are. I tried to take notes this time around so that I can remember things, but I'm sure I'll still forget something. Marshall was complaining at the start about cold butter. He just can't stand it, and I'm down with that. He says that I just love eating. I don't love eating it cold. I don't eat cold butter. Sometimes, if I wasn't paying attention, I'll be forced to have some that is right out of the fridge. But even then, I always mix my butter with a bite of food, and the food is hot. So you put butter in your mouth with food, and it just adds to the flavor. It makes the flavor that much better. If you just try and eat the butter, it's not that great. It's not the thing to do. It's a little weird, even for me. Even for the king of eating fat. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. I think was it this video or last video? Shoot, I don't even know. All the days run together. But I showed a bite where you can see the butter and the fork, and what I do, I usually get a little bite of like a burger or steak or whatever. I put it on my fork, and then I get some butter and I eat them as a bite together, and that usually really enhances the food. And they'll do that with pretty much anything. I've tried it with all sorts of stuff, and there's nothing that butter doesn't make better that I've found so far. But you know, the food's got to kind of be good to begin with. It's got to be warm and tasty, and you know, this carnivore egg salad that you made, it's interesting. Sounds like you need to make an egg salad sandwich though. Yeah, like you did the next day where you put the burgers together with the egg salad. Maybe you need to just use burgers as your bread for your sandwich and put that egg salad onto it. I bet that, nice warm burgers with that stuff in the middle, I bet that would be good. I don't know. I've never tried this stuff, this concoction that you invented, but sounded interesting. Probably, yeah, I don't know if there's a way to make it warm though, right? Like, can you make a warm egg salad? Can you warm that stuff up? I don't know. Maybe that's the real problem with it. I do have to say though that I think still, even with this, part of your issue is the propaganda that we've been hearing our whole lives about fat and how bad it is. I know that in general, at least from my experience, women are the ones that tend to have more of a problem, more of an issue with it. They have been more convinced that fat is bad for you, and there's so many times we'll talk. My wife freaks out when she sees me eating butter the way I do. She's like, "Oh, that's so gross." And I've had friends the same thing. When I tell them the kind of stuff that I eat, she'll freak out and just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that, and yeah, it's interesting, but I think all of us, even men, we still have had all that propaganda pushed on us. All this stuff has been telling us what's good and what's bad for us all this time, and it turns out that it's not true. None of it is. It's all false. All this stuff, cholesterol and fat, and I guess there is a slight. People know that sugar's bad for them, but for some reason they don't seem to care. It's not a thing that people are like, oh, well, yeah, sugar's bad for you, so you should stop eating it, and I'm going to. No. They say sugar's bad for you, so you should eat less of it. So I'm going to only have 5 glasses of Kool-Aid today. I'm only going to have 2 liters of soda instead of 3. That'll be good control, because I did not have that. I drank more than 2 liters a day. One thing I was thinking while I was watching that, it would be funny if we got to come up with a name, some kind of a name for a meal that includes all 4 elements. If you can get a meal that has beef, butter, bacon, and eggs in it, then you win. It's a victory meal. I don't know. There's got to be some kind of a name. I wonder if there is something already. I mean, this beef, butter, bacon, and eggs thing is not something we made up. It's been around for a while. I mean, heck, Marshall got himself a shirt. So it's a thing. I wonder if they have a name for it. If not, we should invent one. I like victory meal, but maybe you all have a better suggestion. I'll leave it up to you. Marshall said that from what he understood, you can't overeat if you're eating beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. And I was wondering, is that true? Can you not overeat? And I think in general it is. I think you probably could if you really tried. I mean, the basic idea is eat when you're hungry, and don't eat again until you're hungry again. And if you do that, then you're going to get what your body needs. Your body tells you, I'm hungry, I need more. How do you like that tropical soundtrack going on? I don't even know what those are. Is it a cicada or some kind of a bug? I don't think that's a bird. Anyways, yeah, it's very difficult. Dr. Sivas talks about this. Your body has a mechanism built in to avoid overeating. It's going to keep you from eating too much food. Now, that is the rub. What is food? And in his estimation, and I agree with him, it's meat. Meat is food. Fat is food. Carbohydrates are drugs. Carbohydrates are not food. We don't have anything in our physiology that will prevent us from overeating those kind of things. Now, I don't know if Marshall has come up against this, but this happens to me all the time because of all the butter that I've been eating. When I put butter on all this stuff, it stuffs you. It doesn't matter that you're not really eating that much. If I didn't put butter on it, I could probably eat everything that's in front of me without trouble. But when I put butter on stuff, I start eating and I get full way faster, and you can feel it in your stomach. You can feel that your stomach going, whoa, dude, seriously, lay off here. That's too much. And I've had to do that a couple of times this week. I've got a hamburger patty in the fridge right now, waiting for the next time that I eat because I couldn't finish it yesterday. Was it yesterday? The day before? It wasn't yesterday. I didn't eat yesterday. The day before. Yeah, it's a thing. You really can't overeat. You might be able to eat enough that you're not going to lose weight. But even that, I think, would take kind of a heroic effort. you'd have to really fight that feeling of fullness to keep stuffing in the food. So, I would say, I guess, eat away. If you're hungry, go for it. If you're not hungry, then don't. Just let it go. That's your body telling you that it's not time to eat. Your body has signals. Follow them. Listen to them. Do what it says. It's in charge. It knows what it's doing. It's all good. It was interesting. Marshall sent me over an infographic, I guess you would call it, about the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs thing. Something that was made for Dr. Barry's group, where it listed all the stuff that was okay to eat and wasn't okay to eat. Basically, what's beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and it even said, beef is not just beef, but any other ruminant that you can eat. So like a buffalo burgers or bison burgers. That was a joke. I know they're the same thing. Venison, I guess lamb, those kind of things also all count as beef. And with bacon, however, it just said bacon or pork belly. Didn't say anything about anything else. And I asked Marshall about that. What do you think about that? And he said, I think I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to stop doing pork stuff. Like he had pork loin this week, and I think he's decided he won't do that. And he sounded like he didn't like it anyways. He said it was too dry, so I guess it shouldn't be a surprise that he's going to get rid of pork loin from his menu. But yeah, so that's what we're looking to fix, to change. One of the things that Marshall also talked about was cooking stuff ahead. He was complaining that he had his steak cooked perfectly, and then when he warmed it back up later, it dried it out and made it yucky and wasn't very good because of that. And that is an issue. I don't know if there's a good way around that. I guess it makes it easier to cook a bunch of stuff ahead and then just microwave it. I tend to not want to do that because I know that steak is not good when it's warmed up. Or we'll say this, it's not as good when it's warmed up. When I try and reheat steak later, I never like it like I do the day that it was actually cooked. And so I try to only cook what I'm going to eat that day. And I guess that's kind of a pain, but it can't be that much of a pain. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. You don't spend that much time cooking. Unless you're making some extravagant stuff like Scotch eggs or whatever. Making some kind of crazy concoction. I guess that might take a little more time, but I don't know, that sounded fun. I really would like to try those. That sounds really good, and I may have to give it a shot. I don't know. I don't do hard-boiled eggs very often. Marshall seems to do them a lot. I am not a big fan of hard-boiled eggs. I don't really like them, but it could be because I'm like Marshall and I like them softer. I find that they have way less taste when they're hard-boiled eggs. I hate the way egg yolk or egg whites taste when they're hard-boiled. You might as well be eating rubber. I don't know. It's just gross. I don't like them. So I don't know. I'd have to really undercook my hard-boiled egg and then let it cook a little further when it's in the oven. I don't know, that could be fun, but as for Marshall's question, should we enjoy our food? Is it, and the reason why he's asking this is because way back when we first started these carnivore challenges back in March, I was telling him that the important thing is that he needs to learn to see his food as fuel and not as entertainment. If you're not expecting to be entertained by your food, then you won't feel the need to eat frequently. You won't feel the need to have to be, tantalized by new tastes. I don't think it's a problem to, do something interesting sometimes to enjoy your food. I can't imagine that, you know, there's a whole lot of times if you're hungry that you don't enjoy your food. However, you know, a steak, a nice hamburger patty, you know, some ribs, well, I don't know, whatever, any of those kind of things, they're all really good. And if you're hungry, then they will be really good and you will like them. Making Scotch eggs is fine too, but I think the reason you want to avoid trying to be entertained by your food is because then you won't want to do it so often. You won't feel like I'm sitting here watching TV, I'm bored, let me grab a bag of popcorn, or I don't know, whatever the thing is that tempts you, the package of cookies or whatever, and I'll have that help me be happy, stuff my face with it. That's not what's going to bring you your happiness. And if you're trying to get your happiness from that, then that is the problem. But if you're, you know, you're just making a slightly more interesting carnivore meal by putting your hamburgers around a hard-boiled egg, I don't think there's an issue with that. I don't think that those two go together. But yeah, it's been a pretty good week. I'm looking forward to the week ahead. Marshall's talking about trying to do one meal a day, and I say good luck to him. Hopefully he can manage it. I would say the key to managing one meal a day is just making sure you eat enough fat. I know that butter is not necessarily your thing, but you're going to need to make sure you eat plenty of it so that that feeling of being full lasts through to the next day. You're gonna have some struggles at first because your body's used to eating at a certain time, and it's going to tell you it's hungry at that time. Whether you are planning on eating or not, it's going to say, hey, remember how we ate yesterday at this time? That was cool. We should do that again, man. So don't if you fight that off after a while, it won't bother you anymore. Which is a good thing about one meal a day, because alternate day you can't do that. You can't just, I know I usually eat at noon, but now we're just not going to eat. And you're just going to get used to that, because you're not going to get used to it because you're going to eat at noon the next day. So one meal a day is good that way. But yeah, I wish you luck, Marshall. Just go for it, man. Just you can do it. I remember the first time that I went one meal a day, and I was about to head to work, and I just thought, okay, I'm going to try this. I'm just not taking food with me, and hopefully I'm not going to regret it later. And I was fine, turned out. And I didn't regret it later, and I did one meal a day, and then I did it again and again, and then pretty soon I got to alternate day, and sometimes even longer. And this upcoming week for me, I'm going to do another week of alternate day fasting, and then I think the week after that, I'm going to try a full 72-hour fast. I'm going to plan ahead and make sure that I actually start the fast at a good time of day so that it's easier to end the fast at 72 hours. So that's what we have to look forward here on Big Anklovich on health.